Are you feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or just out of sync when it comes to starting 2025? Because let me tell you, you are not alone. I think it's really important to talk about why we often feel this way when we're starting the new year. Here are 5 ways to get realigned in 2025. Let's go. Hey guys, it is Ashley from theawakenedstate.net. It has been a while. How are you doing? Oh my gosh, to be honest with you, I have not filmed since November. So we are talking, it's gonna be interesting this round. All right, so it's been a while. How is everyone doing? Let me know in the comments. How has your new year been, your holidays been? Oh my gosh, I am so pumped and ready to explore some fresh topics. I really felt like December was a month to take a break and realign, resettle, and recuperate. And I am coming into the new year honestly feeling refreshed, renewed, and motivated. And even right now in our membership, we have Momentum Magic going on, where we're learning all about how to build momentum for the new year. So that's been really fun. And most of all, I really want to emphasize here on why we can often lose momentum, right? So if you don't know me, I am Ashley from theawakenedstate.net. I am a mindset coach, a Kundalini awakening expert, and I love to talk on all things related to spiritual awakening, spiritual alignment, and most of all, energy, mind, body healing. It is one of my favorite things to talk about. So, oh my gosh, how are you? So when it comes to looking at why we feel stuck, overwhelmed, exhausted, mentally everywhere, a lot of the times we're missing one key piece of the puzzle that is kind of holding the whole thing together and hiding in disguise. And this is misalignment. Misalignment is one of those tools that you might not realize is actually a tool of spiritual growth. Because when we start to understand our misalignment, we can learn so much more about how we can personally get spiritually aligned and in 2025. Because here's the thing, when it comes to looking at misalignment, there are often key areas on where we might feel misaligned. And I like to connect these back to the chakra system, for example. But even just as simple as recognizing there is emotional misalignment, mental misalignment, and spiritual misalignment, we can often see that misalignment is more than just a word where we have misaligned energy. It's actually connecting to our emotions, our mental capacity, and our spiritual self. Because we can see here that when it comes to looking at misalignment, misalignment is often a key phrase here of like an umbrella topic where we realize that misalignment is really about your emotions. It's the mind-body connection, of course. But most of all, I really believe that when it comes to looking at misalignment, this is a key problem for so many of us. It is the key reason why we feel stuck, overwhelmed, in a ton of self-doubt, or really just out of sync and out of whack with what we want to do with our lives, or just in general, we feel a bit of lack of motivation as we start the new year, right? Here's the thing. When it comes to looking at mental misalignment, we have to look at our negative self-talk and those excuses we keep telling ourselves. When it comes to emotional misalignment, we might have to look at our emotional baggage, such as, how we personally feel and how we feel in sync with our lives. In a place where we're more angry or upset often, or we get triggered a lot, or is there elements where we might feel emotionally overwhelmed and we have a hard time managing our emotions? These are all important questions to ask when it comes to emotional misalignment. And then there's spiritual misalignment, which is often about understanding how you feel disconnected or connected to your higher self. So spiritual misalignment will often present itself as feeling disconnected from your spiritual self. It will often represent itself as feeling lost or uncertain of your path and so forth. It can also represent, and this is just, just being real and human with you, it can often represent your beliefs and your spiritual beliefs. And so if you feel very out of sync and misaligned with spirituality, you might have some issues with God, or you might have issues with your spiritual self in general. And this can also present itself as a bit of misalignment. So like I said, it's not really a blanket term here of just saying misalignment. There is all sorts of different layers. In the next video I give you, I want to dive really heavy into exactly what that is. But for right now, let's just talk about what are the 5 ways that we can get realigned in 2025. So when it comes to looking at what are the 5 ways that we can create realignment and what I like to call spiritual alignment in 2025, I want you to think the broad scope, okay? So when we think about what is spiritual alignment, well, spiritual misalignment is all about feeling a bit of, negative emotion. You're feeling more misaligned with your literal life. You feel misaligned with your body and your health. You feel misaligned with your emotions. So when it comes to spiritual alignment, you can obviously guess what it is. It is more about feeling emotional empowerment, feeling more emotionally secure with yourself. And when it comes to understanding spiritual alignment, we have to realize that we are in sync with our mind, body, and emotions. And those emotions influence our actions, and those actions change our results. But if we have misalignment going on, that is influencing our results. So what is the 5 ways that we can get spiritually aligned in 2025? Well, here's the thing. When it comes to looking at our first one, we have to realize that the mind-body connection is always going on. This means one of the best ways to create realignment is to literally ground and anchor back into the body with mindful movement practices. I highly recommend mindful movement practices for realignment. And the reason for this is it gets you back out of the head and back into the body. And the reason for this is because when you're in your head too much, you're in a fight, flight, freeze response. So the next thing you want to do is you want to get back anchored into your body so you are present and aware. And this will easily create realignment. Now, when it comes to looking at grounding practices, this is more than just visualizing yourself as a tree, okay? Okay, guys? It is really about learning to create what helps you create more mindfulness and movement in your life. So for example, this could look like yoga, dance, Pilates, doing house chores where you get up and move a lot, or doing, if you're a man, maybe it's mowing the lawn, or maybe it's going hunting, or maybe it's just finding whatever tools and activities that really inspire you that kind of get you up and moving out of your head and back into your body. For my man right now, he's really big on running on the treadmill, and that's a huge one for him. And so you can see here how this isn't about being like rigid in your ways of practice. It's about finding what works for you in terms of mindful movement. The second one is to really look at strengthening your intuition. Because here's the thing, a lot of us might have grew up suppressing our intuition. I will drive this point home because it's very, very powerful to realize that so many of us could be suppressing our intuition. And this is at the root cause of why we have so much self-doubt, indecision, second-guessing ourselves, overthinking, overanalyzing. If you ever caught yourself really overanalyzing a situation, refusing just to take action, this is coming from a really weak intuition. And so we don't always realize that there is very practical ways to pinpoint if we have intuition blocks or not. And so one of the strongest ways that we can really strengthen our personal alignment is to strengthen our intuition, because our intuition is always literally governing the show. Because when you understand your intuition will show you your alignment. And when it comes to that, oh my gosh, there is a whole new world that opens up for you, because when it comes to looking at spiritual alignment in relationship to your intuition, you are connecting to your natural path of least resistance that is helping you move forward in life, heal, manifest, attract what you want, understand your results better, know the right actions to take. Have you ever had a moment, and I know this is very common in the new year, if you've ever had a moment where you have just overcome by so many ideas and so many goals and so many projects that you just are like, okay, this all sounds amazing, but at the same time, I have no clue what I want to do because there's so many ideas, there's so many goals. It's where you have so much, you have so much inspiration that and downloads that you don't know how to process it or navigate it. Well, that's what your intuition does. Your intuition says, hey, you know what? This idea is actually the idea you should focus on. But if you don't have a strong intuition, you can't really access that. And that's what creates so much overwhelm and overthinking and so forth. Now, when it comes to also looking at strengthening your intuition, one final thing I want to mention is you might have intuition blocks, and this can also show you a ton about your misalignment. The next thing I want to talk about is decluttering your mindset, because this is one of the third practices that will serve you so deeply when it comes to spiritual alignment. So when we feel misaligned in our body, a lot of times it's coming from negative self-talk, limited beliefs, excuses, complaints, and so forth. And a lot of that is stemming from our limited mind. And so one of the best things you can ever do for yourself is learn how to declutter your mindset. Understanding to use practices that help your mindset is a powerful practice. Not just even just using that on your own, but looking at a way where you can tap into journaling or affirmations or setting intentions for yourself so you can be more mindful of the language that you're speaking. One of the things that I'm always talking about all the time with just my own family is the idea of your language and making sure your language is personally empowering your reality. We don't realize the subtle shift and the subtle power of just understanding our language and knowing that our language is fueling our world. And so when you look at things from an empowered place of decluttering your mindset, of just, shifting some of these more, I wouldn't even say negative thoughts. It's more so just about looking at those, negative self-talk, or looking at where maybe you're having a lot more excuses or complaints, or maybe you're saying, I can't very often, or maybe you feel like there isn't a way where it's possible for you. So there's an element here of like where you feel very limited, or you feel kind of stuck in your head or stuck on what you want to do, because that's all coming from your language. And so when you start to learn how to declutter your mindset with practices that help you, and I always like to call these the mind-body practices, is to start to look at mind-body practices that help you. So we have, grounding with our mindful movement, and then also we have our mindset and our mindset practices that help declutter your mindset so that it kind of breaks free from the stagnant energy of holding yourself back with those limited ideas and limited thoughts, and most importantly, just negative thinking patterns that are stopping you and blocking you, or just keeping you set in your own ways where you're self-sabotaging, or you're just holding yourself back, and so forth. So those are great practices to have. Now, when it comes to 4, the best one that I love to talk on is resetting your energy with chakra healing. Chakra healing is my bread and butter. It is an incredible system to understand how energy works through the mind-body connection. A lot of the times we know about energy, we understand energy, we feel like we are, grasping energy with spiritual awakening. And there's often a lot of balancing masculine and feminine energy out there that's trending, but we also have to realize that to properly understand our energy body, we need to know how our energetic system is operating. And that includes knowing your chakra system. When we start to work with the chakras from the mind-body level, we're not just focusing on our mindset, we're not just focusing on the actions we take, we're literally honing in on the whole thing. And this is where it's different. This is where it's completely different. than most systems, because you can see here how when you work with the mind-body connection, you are working with your entire mind-body connection. You're literally working with the mind, body, soul, spirit, and your actions and your results. And so one thing I love about the chakra system that's different is we're not just talking about color therapy, and we're not just talking about doing meditation. We're talking about energy clearing work. We're talking about using energy clearing tools and then using that for your mindset and your emotions and your actions. So it's not just one thing or the other thing. It's about energy clearing. It's about utilizing mindset tools. It's about utilizing emotional tools and learning how to meet your emotional needs. And at the same time, when it comes to doing chakra practices, it is literally about creating alignment. And so that is one of the best things for you when it comes to utilizing the chakra system. So understanding how to get back into alignment with the chakras is a valuable tool. This is why we have the chakra realignment meditation. I will leave a link down below for you if you're interested in that, but it's my chakra realignment meditation where I have you go through a simple meditation to realign your chakra system. It's an incredible tool that I love to use over and over again, especially if you've had a bad day or you just feel a little bit wonky or you need to realign your energy. And that is to say, not a side note here, but when you think about spiritual alignment, it's more like energetic maintenance. It's not like you're doomed and gloomed forever. It is a maintenance system. It is just like when you need a car tune-up and you go to the mechanic to get a tune-up. In the same way, we need energy tune-ups to understand our spiritual alignment and our energetic health, because our energetic health is influencing the entire show. When you think about it, your energy influences your mindset, your energy influences your emotions, your energy influences the actions you take. Whenever I have like a moment of like really working on like some deep dive stuff in my business, I'm just like, well, maybe I should just stop and talk about mindset instead. And, leave this whole like energy conversation behind. And then my intuition pipes up and says, no, Ashley, you're not getting it. It's the energetic fuels the mindset, fuels the emotions, fuels the actions, fuels the results. And you can see here how it's not just one thing or the other thing. It is an interconnected system. That's what I'm trying to say. It's an interconnected system. And that is really where you can see the difference here. And that is like the whole thing in a nutshell. What is the fifth thing? The fifth thing is to commit to small daily actions with an alignment practice. Really understanding small daily actions will help you get aligned, but you need to be creating an alignment practice to help create those changes. For example, when you understand how to create an alignment practice, you are not just working with the mind or the body, you're also working with your intuition, and then your intuition is helping fuel action forward. So for example, when we focus on alignment in small, consistent ways, we're not just going like full on doing a 2-hour meditation practice with an energetic juice cleanse and all this weird shit I see. It is more so about creating small, subtle shifts in your day-to-day actions. Like, I think this is one thing that is so overlooked, is we think that we need an ayahuasca trip just to get our life back on track. But the reality is you need to just get up and do the work. You need to get up and take small, subtle shifts. You need to get up and start to take small, subtle changes from your intuition, from changing your habits, from taking just one small step differently. Because this is what's going to help alignment the most. Because it's with our alignment that we're teaching our subconscious mind to believe. We're teaching our subconscious mind that this is real and this is proven. And then we give that evidence the more we take action and the more we create shifts. If you were to think about just the concept of how you strengthen anything in life, such as a muscle, you're building and snowballing that over time, right? So because of the snowball effect, the ripple effect occurring, if you allow yourself to take those small, subtle shifts and small, subtle actions, you will inevitably see a shift because you are starting to get momentum going and you're starting to create more flow state. And the flow state instigates alignment. So you can start to see here how the small, subtle shifts of those actions that you're taking with an alignment practice is kind of creating a windfall effect where you're not just getting into, you're not just using your intuition, you're getting into a flow state. And that flow state is influencing the alignment, and the alignment starts snowballing, and the alignment starts snowballing your actions. And when it starts snowballing your actions, you start understanding what to do. You start understanding, this is how I make a decision. This is what I want to do next. And you start having more of those downloads, and you start having more of those positive shifts in your mindset, in your framework. And that starts instigating having more confidence, having more certainty, changing that doubt into more and more intuitive confidence, and so forth. So you can see here how alignment is so much more than a buzzword in the spiritual community. And we have to realize that when we understand what is taking us out through our misalignment, we can start to use it as a tool for our spiritual alignment. And that is what it's really about. When it comes to looking at spiritual alignment, I want you to also consider that your energy is an invaluable, valuable tool to understand. Because when you understand your energy body, you can understand how your spiritual alignment is operating. So that is why I created the Chakra Starter Toolkit. And it is a free downloadable toolkit where you can get into our membership portal, and you get a few videos all about how to get started with the chakra system. So if you are new to the chakras and you want to learn about more of an in-depth view of the mind-body connection, I highly recommend downloading it. It is at the Chakra Starter Toolkit. And I also want to mention that with all of this in mind, the spiritual alignment membership is going to be opening in February. So if you are interested in the Soul Aligned Life Academy, where we dive heavily into spiritual alignment through my 5-part framework, where I teach you all things about how to access your spiritual alignment, how to work on your energy body, how to understand energetic healing, how to do mindset work so that you can sustain that healing, how to understand basically how to transcend your patterns in your nervous system so you can start to get better results with your manifesting, and so forth. It is a deep dive into spiritual alignment. You can get on the wait list. I will leave that in the description below if you are interested in our membership. Okay, it has been so fun geeking out with you on spiritual alignment. If you like our videos, please hit like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.